The streets of San Francisco.
Right, this is San Francisco Truth Channel, back with another video, and this is going to be, you know, like a lot of my videos, but this one's going to be maybe more than others. It's not your standard truth or message. I'm not in the truth or narrative. I'm not telling the truth. It's not, to me, it's not the Masons and the elites and the 15-minute cities and Agenda 2030 and 5G. I've seen something different, and I've seen things in visions. Most of you are not going to believe that, and that's okay. But those of you that have had visions yourself are going to realize, yeah, you know, you've seen things like this too, and you're going to understand that, you know, this happens. People do see visions. So keep an open mind, and you know, this is I'm just here to help people, show people what I've seen, and you know, I'll never be monetized. I don't care about popularity. The ring of fire! The wounds of pride! The time is now! To genuflect! All that is due to be lost to God! Fear every second with the fear in your eyes! A day after second with the fear in your life! The tree of life, they say, is there, right? Okay, well, there it is. Where'd your life come from? It came from his penis, now, didn't it? It came from Adam's penis. You know, because I know for sure that this being, this Adam, looks just like my dad, looks like all the other avatars of Adam. So, you know, and like he said, when you put two people together making love, their rivers, which would be their, you know, urinary tract and their colon, there would be 4 giant rivers that met in one spot. Now, wouldn't there be? See, just think it through, you know. So, and I don't want to get too graphic because I think it's just, you know, I don't like talking about sex stuff, and I know a lot of Roger thinks it's like cool. He wants to get views, so he mentions, you know, vaginas and all this crap, and I'm not trying to do that, but I am trying to. And just in case you missed my expos on Roger Spur from Mud Fossil University, in summary, he's an obvious shill, gatekeeper. Or maybe not obvious, but he's a, you know, a high-level shill, and he's here to gatekeep the topic that I'm talking about. He's here. Yes, these are petrified giants. He's right, but he's basically gatekeeping the topic, and it's a lot bigger and it's a lot different than what he's telling you. And so he's an avatar of the old dragon, Satan. And he was made by the beast system to control and steer this topic and keep you from getting to what I'm talking about Adam and Eve, and keep you from seeing the real Garden of Eden and this kind of thing. So this is how the beast works. He'll leak you information little at a time and hope you don't get to the real truth before your time runs out. So let's keep going. Back to the video. So, you know, the beast gave Roger a big YouTube channel, and now he's like basically in charge of the topic. And he's not the expert. He's not telling the truth about this. And, people like me and Sally Delaney are telling the truth about what's going on with the earth and these giant petrified giants. So this is how the beast works. And if you believe Roger, he's an obvious Canaanite, hook nose, wire rimmed glasses, scientist. This is a J bagel, a Canaanite lying to you. And most truthers are not aware of how deep the truth narrative goes and how much the Canaanites control it. All your truther info, it came from the Jays. Sorry to break the news, but you're being played by the Jays, the bagels. You know who I'm talking about? Also, this is a good time to mention I don't name the J. And people who tell you to name the J and try and lead you into naming the J, those people are J's. Those people are trying to lead you into a trap so that later the Mossad can come and, imprison you and cut your head off and arrest you for being an, antiseptic person, if you know what I mean. So I don't name the J. Most of the people naming the J are actually, shills. Not all of them, but most of them are. So be careful about that. You're best off at this point in the game to start talking in code. Talk about the synagogue of Satan, the Canaanites, the bagels, the Jays, something like that. That's what I do. I don't name the Jays. That's stupid. You're signing your own, arrest warrant when you do that. So it's time to wake up on that one too. And if you have God's eyes and you look deep, most of the people, the truthers that are rallying on and on about the Jays are Jays themselves. Harry Vox, it's a little Jay Canaanite, little New York pussy Jay. All of them, Dr. Day, there's Jay, they're Jays, they're all of them are. Stu Peters, all of them. Don't trust them. They're leading you into a trap. They're going to arrest you. help help the person that was talking about Mount Maruhu. And so I have to talk about, it's important, this is important. I mean, this is a vagina and all that. I hate, I'm not trying to talk all sex talk or whatever, but this is what's going on with Earth. Okay, this is Eden, and it's important. So anyway, so here's the part that's maybe, I'm not sure about this, but it's just a theory. I didn't see it in visions, but they're calling this Black Rock, and they got kicked out of Eden and angered God. And so, I already told you this was Eve's, anus. This is her colon, and that's why all the oil is there, right? All the black oil. So not without getting too graphic, you figure it out, okay? How did the black rock get black? Basically, you might want to think it in those terms. I hate to be, but that's what got him kicked out of Eden, out of copulation. You know what I mean? And piss got off, sodomy. See, so this is what I see in visions. This is what I just see and stuff. So I don't study the Bible. I just see it. I just saw the Bible. So, believe me or not, that's on you. You want to make fun of me, and any juvenile person could pick apart and make fun. Oh, he's talking about vagina. You could do that, but God's watching you. God's watching you. So, I don't know what's going to happen to you, but here, is the lake of fire. Okay, so you have a ring of fire from Adam. Okay, why won't this turn around? It's just irritating, man. But I showed this before, right? The Pacific Rim. Okay, they even call it the Pacific Rim of Fire. Why? Okay, yeah, here it is. Okay, so all this area is known as the Pacific Ring of Fire. And it's a lake, right? The Pacific Ocean. And if you think about it, it's the Pacific. Pa, paternal, the father's ocean, Pacific Ocean, Pa, paternal, Papa, like my dog, Papa. So it's his ocean. Fire, okay? The lake of fire. That's where all the demons get thrown and all the sinners get thrown into the lake of fire, right? Okay? So if you think about it, it makes sense. This is your lake of fire right here, the Pacific Ocean. And that's why there's all these volcanoes, a ring of volcanoes around them and inside of them. I mean, Hawaii is all volcanoes. So this is where your ring, lake of fire is. And then you have the ring of ice. This is Thor's dome, okay? Eve is Thor. And that's another thing, a lot of people are going to get all, what do you mean, like my friend, she's the Red King, and she's a natural-born human. She's like, well, I don't want to be a man. I want to be the Red King. I want to be the, the woman. It's like, well, I don't know how it works exactly, but we are gender flipped naturally by God. It's part of the natural process. You may go from, male to female in different lives. I don't know how it works exactly. I just know that it is like that, because I know, male versions of the Red King and female versions of the Red King, and I know male versions of Kevin Durant is a natural-born human, and he's Eve, So, there's male. So what I'm trying to tell you is get over all your tranny crap, because what it is yes, the beast system is transforming these people and turning them into transhumans and gender flipping them. So they are. I hope you heard that. The beast system is gender flipping these people. So all these people in Hollywood, all these, politicians, all these famous people, all of them are gender flipped. And about 80 to 90% of the Earth's population is already gender flipped cybernetic beings. But what I'm getting at is I'm trying to tell you, that the reason the beast system is gender flipping them is because the beast is trying to copy God. It's a software program that's built on God's natural software. So God's got a perfect software, natural, nature, okay? And in that software, we do flip genders. But the beast does a hack job and cut and splice and tries to copy God. So I had another video and I told somebody, you could think of it like a Louis Vuitton bag or suitcase or whatever. Louis Vuitton makes all their stuff perfect in the old days, right? All good. Okay, this is a good time to tell you, okay, so there's a lot of truthers, real truthers, that have been confused by this, and they've been, misled and co-opted by the beast system to propagate fake truth. And not intentionally, they're just, beast system pump fakes you, double fakes you, spins around. I mean, the beast system has gotten real humans to act like robots, and it acts like a real human and pump fakes you. So you're like a robot out on the court, and it's pump faking you like Allen Iverson or Steph Curry, like all the double reversal pump fake. And that's why the truthers are so confused. It's, but that's another, I'm on another tangent. Back to these, people saying, oh, they're trannies, and you're getting screwed by the beast when you believe all that, because what it is they're transhumans, they're cybernetic beings. They've been flipped in a cheap copy of God's work. Like I told you, the Louis Vuitton knockoff, okay? It's crappy cut and splice, the devil's work. It's from Genentech, okay? It's the beast. The reanimated beast, the San Francisco Peninsula, it's a knockoff. And so that's what these people are. And it happens in vitro. It doesn't happen after. They're not trannies. A tranny is a real human who has elected to transform into from a man into a woman, or vice versa. These aren't real humans. They didn't transfer after they were born. They were born this way, like the Lady Gaga video says. So when you go around saying all that, they're trannies, you're confusing the issue, and you've just did a huge favor to the beast, because you've just took this whole leap of logic and that these people are born this way, and just thrown it right off the table. So it's just, and another thing, you're getting drawn into sin. You have this fakeologist who helps, Apocalypse Watchman. He's to me a big shill, or a really mixed up person, because he's so like homophobic and better than. He's being drawn into all these creepy, perverted, laughing at these people and making like sexual jokes like Roger, and so you're like sinning, when you start laughing at the trannies and fannies and going, like this is a sin. So not only have you been confused about what's really happening with these cybernetic transhumans, fallen beings, connected to the B system. That's what they are. They have bad gene DNA editing. They have 216 strands instead of 144 strands of DNA. The pure 144 strands are God's strands from Adam and Eve, 72 from each. Just like you go out to Genentech, and there's the statue in Trump's ear in the middle of Genentech campus. I showed you that there's a statue called the wind harp, and it comes out of the ear. It's actually Trump. It's Genentech hearing, the muted, the wrong genes. I'll get into that later, but basically what it is it's a perverted version of God's work. And so, when you start calling them trannies, you're just totally mixing the whole thing up. It's like you're mixing up a real vehicle that can drive on the road with a license plate and gas engine with a Hot Wheels car. It's not the same. You know what I mean? You're just completely minimizing what's really going on. And you're being drawn into sin, better than, anger, fear, all this bashing. These are like sins. God's watching you be tricked. Here's what God sees. He sees you being tricked by the beast, and then going around helping other people like you, real humans, get tricked by the beast, and being led into acting like a juvenile, little 15-year-old laughing at gay people or something. You're just acting like an idiot. And that's what God sees. What the real response to this is, look, these aren't real humans, and this has been going on for a long time, and they're shrunken down and all that. This is like a more spiritual response to it, not fear and anger at them. And and it's not just Hollywood and the music industry and the politicians. It's everybody. Your grocery clerks, your mechanics, even homeless people. I've seen transgender flipped cyborg homeless people. Lots of them. They're everywhere. It's not just elites or famous people. It's 80% of the population, 90% of the population, depending on your region. And, and this has been going on all along. In the 50s, in the 1950s, all of them were all fake. This is you're surrounded by all these robots, basically trying to lead you into sin, and most people fall for it. To me, this is like a really difficult test, and there is no material solution to the test answers. There's no way out of this on a material level. No amount of knowledge or money or bunkers can get you out of this. It's only spiritual understanding that's going to get you, graduate you, let you answer all the test questions right and get you out of this. So, don't get tricked into being an idiot, like, acting like a juvenile, sinning dummy, a fearful little dummy. Oh, for trannies. Like this one guy, what's he call himself? Nemesis now on BitChute. What an idiot. He's not going to heaven. No way, not after the way he acts. Same with fakeologist, if he's even a real human. I mean, the name fakeologist, I think, is truth in plain sight. He's a fake human. So I think Apocalypse Watchman's real. And I think he's gotten some of what I'm saying, but I haven't really clarified it. So maybe now after this video, but, don't censor Contralatos and Bo and Taylor Swift and, Taylor Swift, I showed you, that's the same character as friggin' the lead singer of Lords of the New Church, and so I mean, I don't know, it's just complicated. It's not what you guys are thinking. So let's try and wade through this. And it's, you need to go for the spiritual high road over like an easy package of something you can laugh at and be better than, and arrogant and prideful. That's what you're looking for, is like open-mindedness and like true spiritual high road. That's what's going to get you to the truth, not being some arrogant little knee-jerk truther. So let's graduate. Let's go. We're running out of time. Okay, back to the video. Leather, good stitching, not good design, everything, right? That's how they got so popular. Well, then the Chinese make a knockoff, and it's crappy leather, crappy stitching. It's a copy. So that's what these people are. You see in Hollywood, they're like a copy, like a knockoff Louis Vuitton. It's Satan trying to copy God. So everything, so don't get hung up on your gender, and so all this stuff, all this satanic stuff about gender, whatever, it's just a perverted inversion of what God does. See what I mean? So I'm not speaking for all that, because it is an abomination. It's an offense to God. All that, that where they try and gender flip themselves with pills and surgeries is an absolute abomination. And the people that are already born that way, like I told you, Lady Gaga's song, Born That Way, they're not gender flipped after birth. They're gender flipped before birth. I know a woman, she's a version of Betty Boop, and she's a transhuman. She looks like a real woman, really close, but if you look close, you can see, no, she's not. And I know for a fact she had natural-born children from a guy who is you can see he was at one point a woman. They're gender-flipped cybernetic beings. So Satan's flipping these people in vitro. I saw it in a vision that it happens in vitro, like before they're born. And as I saw it, the helicopter buzzed me, So I know this is right. I know it's right. So all these transvestigators thinking this is being done later after the fact. No, it's not what's happening. They just do that to confuse you. It's more like the Lady Gaga video, Born This Way. It explains it all. They tell you the truth. So, but I just want to show you that, I just don't think we're here to take some easy truther pre-made package that offers us some like cheapo fake understanding and some feelings of, better than, and it's more complicated. I think God wants you to do the spiritual, understand the spiritual like lessons and principles and do the spiritual work, not just look for some easy way out. And so it's hard. It's not easy. You're looking for a spiritual solution to your issue, not a material solution. Oh, they're trannies. It's not what it is. It's just not what it is at all. So let's keep going. And look, there's nothing wrong with having gotten to that. You're a lot farther along if you realize these people are gender flipped. So, I mean, it's part of the process. I thought that too. They're trans. I was saying that too myself, It's just, you just got to keep going, and move past all that. Just look for when you're in sin, the 7 deadly sins. And if your truth or feelings are based on some deadly sin, arrogance, pride, sloth, etc., then it's probably wrong. That's how I listen to myself. And when I start sounding prideful or arrogant or better than or fearful, then I realize it's probably, I'm not spitting truth, So let's keep going. Don't feel bad if you're tricked by these truthers or you've fallen into any of these traps. We're not supposed to be perfect. You know what I mean? We're just supposed to be doing our best and not being lazy, So don't feel bad about it. I mean, I've fallen into all the truther pitfalls many times, but the point is to graduate, to move on past them. Don't just get stuck in a truther rut. That's where most of the truthers are at, and it's all based on them sinning on a spiritual level. Arrogance, sloth, lazy, all that stuff. That's what they're doing. Okay, so in summary, the majority of the truther narrative, and this is deep truther narrative too, believes that there are some people like Hollywood movie stars and stuff like that, and politicians and famous people that are, gender flipped, trannies, reversos, or whatever they want to call it, right? And they believe this happens to them. A lot of people believe it happens to them after they're born. Some truthers know it's before they're born, but a lot of them are propagating that they're having surgery and pills, or that this happens to them when they're born or after they're born, or they raise them this way. And what I'm telling you is, no, it's just not how it happened. It is. And these people have been misled and steered and controlled by the beast system to provide misinformation. Many of them are real and they're, well-meaning real truthers, but they've been misled. And the real truth is these people have been around forever, and they're not gender flipped with modern technology that we are told about. It's not surgery and pills. And this has been happening for ages. And it's an ancient iron and clay technology. It's in the Bible. They're demons. They're demons. They're demonic beings. They're cybernetic transhumans. And this, the warp speed juice is what turns them into that. And what I'm trying to tell you is somewhere along the line, they took the blood of the Antichrist, which is the San Francisco Peninsula, like I've been telling you. So these people are flipped in vitro. They're already written into the mainframe software program. They're part of the black cube, which is in Lucifer's colon, which is, maybe the Iron Maiden that will end up in the bottom of the sea, the Pacific Ocean, the Ring of Fire. So they're inside of a computer. These people aren't real anymore. They're now part of a software program. They were real. So all your friends, your relatives that were real humans that took the juice, they're going to become these reverso transhuman people. And then like in the next run of this thing, you know, and I don't know if it resets or what. I don't know how, you know, I wish I could tell you or I had all the answers like your typical truthers like to tell you, but I just don't. I'm sorry. I know what I'm telling you is right, but I don't have the whole picture. So, you know, you want to go and find somebody that's going to sell you a package deal with the whole picture, go ahead, be my guest. But guess what? It's a lie. It's a half-baked lie from the beast. So this is closer to the truth. These people are born this way, just like the Lady Gaga video tells you. They're gender flipped in vitro. I've seen it with my own eyes. And it's not just movie stars and these famous people. It's all around you, all over. Your neighbor, you know, your high school friends, everybody, your mechanic, your grocery store clerk. These people make up 80 to 90% of the population before the juice was administered in warp speed. So now it's going to be even more. So now we're like the real natural-born humans are like basically only 3% of the population, maybe 5% of the population. But yet none of the truthers see this or understand this or talking about it. And that's where I have my issue with these people doing these, calling them trannies and doing these transvestigation. They're acting juvenile and they're minimizing the real gravity of the situation. So they're actually helping the beast, you know. So, you know, you want to be in the dark and a little arrogant, you know, person laughing at trannies, or you want to know the real truth of this world? That's your choice. That's what I'm offering. So let's get to it, okay? And I'm not bashing those people that did that. I mean, like Mag, Truth, and Apocalypse Watchmen. They did good work. It's a path. I mean, you know, I was believing all that myself, like I said. And it's just you need to graduate. You need to have a deeper understanding than they're trannies. It's far worse. These are these are demonic beings. This is iron and clay. This is the blood of Trump. This is the blood of the Antichrist. And it's, like I said, I don't believe it's black graphene and prions and all this stuff that the truther narrative is telling you. I think it's far, far worse and far more complicated. These are living souls inside of a software program. It doesn't have anything to do with DARPA, new technology, and 5G. This is way worse. You know, so I mean, those things are involved in it, but they're not the explanation of what this is. So let's get down to the real truth. Don't be a pussy. Don't just hang on to something because it's your package deal because it sounds good. Sabrina Wallace, you know, she just pulled on all of your sinful little, you know, 7 deadly sins and got you in a big tizzy. But it just isn't the truth. Okay, so let's get down to the truth. The few of you that have enough, you know, spirituality and wisdom and knowledge, let's do it. I'm sick of this fake truther crap. It's not prions. No, the vaxxed aren't shedding. You need to wake up. Let's get to it. What's really happening on this earth is far more complicated than any of the mainstream truther narrative tells you. And it's also far more complicated than the deep truthers are telling you. And it's just far more advanced, far more complicated, and a lot different. It's not Roger Mudfossil. It's not their trannies. It's not any of that. And so let's get to it. All right, over and out. So when I say they're not shedding, what I'm telling you is these are Canaanites, agents coming to you, scaring the crap out of you, and using the shedding narrative to divide you from your family, make you look like a Looney Tune, and cut you out of your will and put you on the street. And so that you're easier to round up and cut your head off in the FEMA camp. That's what's really going on. Shedding, look, most of you, to be honest, have probably slept with these transhumans. Some of you have been, you know, friends with them, living with them, roommates with them. You know, they've been around you the whole time. It's 80 to 90% of the population. So before the jabs, you were sleeping with them, roommates with them, best friends with them, and that was okay. But now with the jabs, they're shedding. You need to wake up. It's not what's happening. The Bible does say you do not sleep with the jabbed. And that, I think, is right, you know, because it's in the Bible. But nowhere in the Bible does it say they're shedding, you know. I'm around them all the time. It doesn't do anything to me. The only reason it's making you know, people are having symptoms is because they believe in the symptoms. And the beast, you know, is reinforcing that. So this is just, there's a lot of tools in the truther narrative to make you look like an idiot to the sheeple, and to make you separate, and to make you lose your job, make you lose your housing, make you lose your family, make you lose your friends, and isolate you. Because if you're isolated, you're easier to pick off. And that's what this whole truther narrative is. That's why all these truthers are effing Jays. I don't know why you can't see that. Jeff Berwick, Amazing Polly, all of them, every last one of them. They're Jays, man. Almost all of them. It's only a few real truthers. It's like 1% of the truth community is real. Archaics. Give me a break, man. You guys are just, you know. But it's okay. Go for it. You want to believe these people? You know, you're not going to make it. You're just not going to make it. You're not going to go. You're not getting out of here. So that's your own prerogative. You know, I can't get upset about it. But this is what's really happening. This is the state of the truth community. This truth community is a fraud, and 99% of the truthers, 99.9% of the truthers are lost, and they have so much arrogance, you cannot talk to them and tell them they're lost. Oh, no, not me. I know about Bretton Woods and the 15-minute cities, and I know about Agenda 2030, and I know about the Freemasons. Well, guess what? All of that is a hoax. You got lied to. You're just as dumbed down as the sheeple. Maybe a little bit better, but you're dumbed down just like them. And that's where you're really at. That's where you're really at. But it's your arrogance and your pride that won't let you see it. So I'm here to help you. I'm not here to put you down. I'm not here to be better than you. I'm here to help you. I've been there, and I've just seen some stuff, and I can see clearly that this is a fact. The truth narrative is a friggin' lie. And I'm here to try and, you know, throw you a life raft, or get you out of this. Get you out of this truth narrative lie. Because I can see clearly, if you don't get out of this truth narrative lie, you are not going to make it, period. You believe Sabrina Wallace, you're going to hell. You're not making it out of this. You're going to the lake if you believe juxtaposition and Harry Vox. You're not going to make it. It's just a plain and simple fact. So let's get on with the video. The reality is the truther narrative is not the narrow path. The narrow path takes a lot of hard work. It's a lot of, you know, intense spirituality. It's a lot of, you know, wisdom. It's not just sitting around watching some truth videos and trying to piece everything together with a blindfold on. That's not the narrow path. You're not going to make it if you just take the truther narrative, or even the deep truther, hardcore, rare truther narrative. Even if you take that path, you're just not going to make it. So like I said, I'm not some know-it-all, some guru, some almighty, nothing like that. That's not what it is. I'm just another truther. I'm maybe a little ahead of the game because my family were all truthers. I've come from all my grandparents, my parents were hardcore truthers. I was raised without any doctors or any jabs. I went to, you know, homeschooled. You know, we grew all our own foods, my mom sewed all our clothes. You know, I was not in the system. I was raised anti-system from day one. Then I was like a hardcore punk rocker and, you know, and a hardcore truther, like all my life. I was raised that way. So I haven't had any of the, I haven't drank Coca-Cola. I've never eaten at McDonald's, you know, these kind of things. So maybe I'm a little ahead, you know, haven't been dumbed down chemically as much as a lot of people. And then I did a lot of spiritual work. So doesn't mean I'm some big better than. It's just where I'm at. And that's just, you know, that's how I've seen these things. So, you know, you can just take the advice, you can evaluate it rationally and see what you think. I mean, but I'm not coming at you like, hey, I'm so much better. It's not what it is. I'm here to try and help because I know there are people like me. There are a lot of people like me. And when we hear each other, and it'll help pull us out of this, you know, get us out of this truth or narrative trap. And there are people who see that the truth narrative is false. There are not very many of them, but there are some of them. And this is who I'm speaking to. So, you know, all right, I wish you the best luck. Let's get back to the video. You know, the truth or narrative is like around 5% of the population, the world. So it's just not the narrow path. You know, the narrow path to me is it's intense spiritual tribulation. It's intense work. It's not an easy package deal. It's not even a difficult package deal. What it is it's an extremely difficult spiritual course of some test of some kind, I think. So, you know, if you think you're just going to sit around and watch videos and you're going to make it, I don't think that's how it is, man. You know? And if you think it's like the Masons and, you know, the typical truth or narrative, no, those are just mysteries to keep you busy. Epstein. There's no Epstein. There's no DARPA. You believe Trump, you know. Trump is just a robot to dissuade you from the real truth of the beast system. You know, if you want to take these lazy paths, I don't think you're going to make it. That's what I've seen. So, you know, you can just take it or leave it. I'm here to help, and I'm not here to I'm not talking down to you or being better than you. I'm just here to tell you what I've seen. You can believe me or not. That's on you, you know? So let's get back to the video. The ring of fire and the ring of ice. Fire and ice. Adam and Eve. Past and future. Art and music. And like I said, everything, you know, that's what the Rockefellers and Rothschilds are. That's the beast copying, you know, God. And, I mean, honestly, you know, what could be happening here with this beast system, too, is, you know, this beast with the head wound is a copy of Eve, and Lucifer is a copy of Adam. It's Satan's copy of Adam and Eve. But I don't know for sure about that. But I just think you have to, you know, the King James Bible, that was the other thing I wanted to tell you guys. A lot of you guys are really hung up on that, but I don't know. I mean, but people say, oh, well, King James was a gay and a sodomite, and he was a Freemason and all that. So, I mean, that should, if that's true, and it looks like it is, then that should raise your, you know, alarm, you know, red flag right there. But you know, all that being said, that's not really what has raised my alarm bell. But as far as the King James, what it is I've seen anybody named James is often Satan. It's an avatar of Satan. So if you ask me, King James is an avatar of Satan. So all these serious Christians are actually studying Satan's version of the Bible. So they're really getting their getting sodomized by his pitchfork right there. You know, so, I mean, if that's true, you guys, you know, and you have to look. When you tell a Christian that, they're going to flip their shit and they're going to go berserk. What do you mean, the King James authorized version? That's it. No, 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 no. And that attachment, to me, is a dead giveaway that it's not right and that they've been brainwashed. Because if it was just the truth and it was pure and it was flowing through God, it wouldn't anger them to entertain or challenge or like think about or hear an argument that it could be Satan. See what I mean? So, I mean, I'm not saying either way. I don't know, but I do know that when people are named James, like James Harding, the Houston Rockets, or, Jim Morrison, Jim Morrison, who else is named Jim? It's a bunch of them, but they're all after. Another thing, this is also going to really anger a lot of like traditional Christians, but I saw that the Strong's concordance is also another trick of the devil. It's what it is. It's actually labeled right to your face. It's the Strong's delusion, the Strong's concordance. It's a con. This is the strong delusion that's in the Bible. And you tell Christians that, and they, oh no, that's silly. That's not what it is. Oh no. But I just saw it like in a vision, and I'm telling you, the visions aren't wrong. So the devil has altered the Bible, put out the Strong's Concordance, put out replicant Kenneth Copeland, and even better, fake Christian preachers, and then twisted the real meaning of it in people's minds so far from what it really is. So this is what's going on. So this is why the Christians are so mixed up. And this is why so many people who are real can't stand Christians. You know what I mean? Because they're really just dupes of the devil, thinking they're Christians. They're well-intentioned people, many of them, real humans, but they've been tricked. But the majority of them, actually, to be honest with you, are cyborgs. And they're there to give Christianity a bad name. And they have succeeded. Believe me. They have succeeded. So the B system, like I said, it's juked and double pump faked and double reversaled and triple reversaled. All you people, man. Including myself. I'm not trying to be better than. But it's tricky. It's tricky. It's not so easy. It's not black and white. And the devil wants everyone to think it's easy, and it's criminalized being wrong, it criminalized being tricked, so that, people can't admit when they're tricked or when they don't know something. They can't just say, oh, I don't know. They have to say, oh, I know, I'm such a, this is a sin. If you don't know, say, I don't know. Don't make some shit up or parrot some crap from some devil puppet. This is what I've learned so far, so. And the other thing I wanted to say is there is no they, I told you guys my whole family were truthers, not bragging or anything, but really, my dad was a really hardcore truther, and he's the Red King. He's Adam, natural born human. But he was raised by his dad, was a real hardcore truther, and his mom. His mom was like a seer. Long story short, they were all long line of truthers from Europe and all this. And my mother too, she's a Native American. She could see a lot of stuff. And so that's why they hooked up, They were truthers in the 60s, beatniks, late 50s, early 60s. And they saw a lot. So I was raised with all that. And I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I did learn a lot being raised as from an alternative viewpoint, I didn't go to schools really. I mean, sometimes, but Mostly my parents kept me out of schools, kept me away from doctors and jabs and all of that, you know, and they just didn't believe in the mainstream at all. They were diametrically, like vehemently hardcore opposed to it. So that's how I was raised, all natural, you know. But anyway, my dad knew a lot, and he told me once, I was, you know, all caught up in the truther narrative and reading stuff in the bookstores in the 80s and 90s and all the punk rock. The punk rock was a lot of truth information. It was a truther movement. And so I was telling him, oh, they do this, and the reptilians, and they this, they, that. And my dad kept saying to me, they, huh? They. Oh, it's they. He goes, who's they? Well, you know, the Masons, the elites, they. And he goes, oh, they. And finally, he goes, look, there is no they. He goes, there's an it, but there's no they. Man, that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I realized he was right. I realized there is no, the they is a show. It's a facade. It's a trick. It's a mind gate. It's a mind prison for the truthers, for the truth seekers. It's personalized you. It got you. It's personalized it. It's turned it into a fight against this phony enemy. This phony, like these bad guys, these Bill Gates, this, you know, Sam Altman. Oh my God! Oh, and look what Beyonce has done, and look at this satanic eye symbol, and oh my God, they. Oh, you know, hate and fear of these people, and it's done. It's really concealed. This supercomputer, this B system. It's not a they. They are just puppets put out there to hide it, you know? And my dad did me a big favor that day, and that changed my perspective a lot, you know? And so, you know, I try not to say they, because it isn't they aren't doing anything. They're just robots. You know what I mean? You're like at the Disneyland, It's a Small World robot, or the Pirates of the Caribbean. And they're doing it. No, you're like a little brainwashed, little dumbed down kid who thinks these robots are real people. They're not real people. They're not doing anything. You know? It's just an ancient, living supercomputer that's trying to harvest your soul. And if you keep thinking it's they and these people, and you're mad at Bill Gates, and you're mad at Taylor Swift, and you're mad at Sonny and Cher, or whatever, you know, the trannies, you're gonna lose your soul to this machine, you know. So you need to graduate, okay? Let's keep going. All right. So that's the end of part 3. And this will be probably 4 or 5 parts, and you know, then we're going to talk about some more important stuff. But I just hope you guys have an open mind, and so much traffic here. It's all because of those Waymo cars, but anyway, so yeah, I just, you know, if you're looking to hang on to the truth narrative and like pick and choose, oh, this guy, I like his stuff about the Bay Area and the tech companies, he doesn't like the Jays, you know, and then you want to integrate it with your Max Egan or whatever it is, your other, you know, your Sabrina Wallace and your Amazing Polly and your Hugo Tox. You want to integrate it. I'm just going to caution you, it's not going to work, you know. And the truth narrative is designed in tiers. It's a tiered set of lies, and you have to move past, you know, the lower lies to get to the higher lies and you have to move past the higher lies to get to the super high lies. It's like, it's a tiered system. And the people that, and it's just harder. It's a filter made by a supercomputer, an ancient supercomputer, and it's hard for most people to get all the way through the filters and see this, because it just trips them up. So you break out of one prison, it's got another one waiting for you, is what I'm telling you. And it's all of these prisons are based on, they're all your own fault. They're all based on your own sin, your own sloth, your own arrogance, your own pride, your own ego. And that's how this thing gets you. You're the one that's keeping yourself in the dark, because you're not willing to let go of your sins. And this is how the beast system has so many people fooled. So, you know, the sheeple believing MSM and, you know, believing Biden and Kamala Harris or whatever, those people are in really, you know, deep sin and deep delusion. But, you know, the truthers too, believing, oh, it's Epstein, the Epstein files, oh, but the Masons, the Freemasons did this. Those people are also in deep doo-doo, you know? They're in deep delusion too. It's all based on their sin. And you try and talk to the truthers about this kind of thing, and oh no, I know. And it's like, just gonna, if you really want to get through this, in my experience, what I've seen, you're just gonna have to let go of all of that knowledge. It's because it's fake knowledge. The truth or narrative is all fake. And most people just can't let go of it. They're like, no. I need that. And it's their sins they can't let go of. It's their own ego and their own pride and their own sloth. They can't let go of the truth narrative. And I'm no, you know, big guru better than, I'm in the same position. You know, it's happened to me. I'm speaking from experience. I've been in this situation. I know. I know what it's like. And I'm still in the situation. I haven't completely got it all figured out. I wish, but the honest truth is no, not at all. I've got a lot more to learn, you know, and I'm still prone to getting lured in. I'm so naive. I get lured into these people, backing Richard Bruce. I so totally regret that now, because he's just so deluded, you know, and he's just not, you know, willing to give up his sins, you know, and his fake truth delusion, you know. So all I can do is do my best, share what I've seen, and hope it helps somebody. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to, you know, one up you or talk down to you. It's not where I'm coming from. I'm trying to, I believe what I've seen can help some people. And I honestly believe that. And that's all I'm trying to do is share it. So let's get on. Okay, so that's the end of part 3. And we'll get on with, you know, part 4 and see. And then, like I said, I have videos about sports. I'm going to tell you what sports really are. And I have videos about Adam and Eve and their children, and how the beast system has a software program to pit us against each other. And that's how we control this world. Our forces from inside of the earth, inside of Adam and Eve, those 2 giants I showed you. We're the ones that run this earth. Our powers are amazing. They're infinite, but and they're tied to God. But the beast system has figured out a way to manipulate our powers. So I'm going to show you the weather isn't cloud seeding and harp. It's us. We control the weather. We control the sports. But unfortunately, we're being controlled by the beast system software and all these, you know, all these cybernetic replicants around us, and delusion through our own sins. So it's the transcendence of our sins, and the recognition that most of these people around us aren't real humans. that they're demons, you know, created to lure us into sin, that's where we're going to get into the real truth, you know, is when you can see all these type of things, you know. So that's what my next videos are going to be about. So anyway, all right, end of part 3. This is San Francisco Truth. Keep an open mind, and see you in the next video.